Coming up, our crew travels to the Indo-Pacific region where we track down a Hawksbill turtle and spend some time with a troop of mohawked monkeys. We also take a plunge into a South African rock pool to check out some strange marine creatures.
Today we've decided is turtle day. We've seen all the signs of these turtles nesting during the day, so our plan today is to cut to in between these islands around St. Anne, and we're just going to check each little sandy beach for signs of the tracks, and hopefully we'll find a nesting female.
We stopped on a number of little beaches. We found tracks on the little beach on Moyenne, but it looks like we'd missed this animal by about half an hour, which was rather frustrating, since we'd put a lot of energy into finding these creatures in the last day and a half. Tracks came up, the nest was laid, and the animal had already returned to the ocean. So we decided to move on, and we headed further on to the back of St. Anne Island. And here eventually we managed to find a female hawksbill who had crawled right under the dense growth at the top of the beach and was quite well into the egg-laying process. It must have been 36, 37 degrees in the sun, so it's very important that these animals find shade when they nest. Obviously for our own benefit, as well as for the purpose of hiding the nest. Yeah, she's busy dropping eggs into the little slot that she dug between her back legs. I'm guessing this is about as big as the female hawksbills get. I don't think they get as big as the loggerheads. And the novelty for us, apart from the daylight nesting, is that these turtles don't lay eggs on the South African coast. She began to fill in the hole, dumping sand with her back flippers. They're incredibly agile, these back flippers, and she can almost cup the sand, putting it in exactly the right place before kneading it, putting her head down as she compacts the sand with her back flippers. Once the egg shaft is filled and compacted, the turtle then begins to use her front flippers to dig sand and spray a whole lot of sand behind her, thus masking the exact area where she deposited the eggs. And this particular animal spent a lot of time throwing sand far behind her and making a real mess, obscuring the exact nest site quite efficiently. By now she was really tired and having to rest a lot more and for a lot longer in between these frenetic bouts of throwing sand behind her. She'd become quite entangled in the undergrowth, and I really had the sense that she was obscuring this nest site for our benefit. So we decided to move away.
Well, this is a rock pool at night in the intertidal zone, right on the coast near our offices. And it is a weird, weird world to delve into with a camera. The challenge is obviously lighting, and we have to cast light to be able to see anything. And as one moves, the pool of light is filled with weird creatures. One is the needle urchin, and another is the sea hare, an algae-grazing slug that works the bottom of these intertidal pools. One can really settle down with a camera and get good close-ups of these creatures. And their agenda for the whole night is hoovering the bottom of these pools. Swimming along these submerged rock walls, one could be in the deepest ocean. It's an amazing feeling to only see what's in your lights, and things flit in and out of the light, and you pass urchins, pink coral heads, more strange slugs. And it's wonderful exploring these pools. They're full of surprises. The one thing that you see is that fish have different colorations at night. And another gem is the fact that parrotfish actually bunk down and go to sleep. And if you swim up really quietly and you don't shine too much light on them, they carry on snoozing under a rock in front of you. One of the fascinating things about parrotfish is that they exude a membrane out of their mouth which protects their entire body. And as this one cycles water, you can see a little bit of slime coming out of its mouth. Now, this actually coats the entire body of the fish as it sleeps, and it stops parasites from binding onto the scales.
As we wend our way out of the Sumatran jungle, we are drawn to the sounds and movements of the elusive Tamas leaf monkeys. Beautiful faces with the most attractive mohawk hairstyles. I had hoped for an encounter with these creatures. We come slowly closer so as not to startle them, because I know that the slightest provocation will send them back into the forest. Even more than most primates, they display such an active alertness, constantly poised for flight into the treetops. Today they have come to forage down on the forest floor, not their familiar environment. They seem to be feeding on seed pods or dried fruits from the trees above, which are rubber trees. So specifically adapted for their arboreal lifestyle in the top canopy of the forest. Exceptionally long tails, lanky and agile. Quite a wonderful creature, this Tamas leaf monkey.
Next week, our crew continues their Indo-Pacific explorations.